I think I don't know if I've talked about this before on this channel, that kind of like a weird favorite movie of mine is The Mummy, directed by Stephen Sommer, starring Brendan Fraser and Rachel Weisz. I don't know if I've talked about before how when I saw it, I was still in elementary school, and The Mummy scared the shit out of me in that movie, like particularly when they first find him and when he first attacks Rachel Weisz's character. Scared the crap out of me. And then since then I've seen the movie like 50, 60, 70 times. I don't know. I could recite that movie like word for word all the way through. Maybe even the the parts spoken in ancient Egypt. But so I had no idea. That that mummy that I love so much was in any way, shape, or form related to this mummy starring Boris Karloff. As I started to watch the movie and get a sense of the plot, I was like, this seems awfully familiar. It's the same plot. The Stephen Sommer version is essentially a remake of this. Had no idea. Hey there, creepy peeps. We are getting well into our 31 Days of Horror marathon now. For you today, I have a much older, much more stale movie review for you today. We're going to be talking about The Mummy, directed by Karl Freund, from 1932, That Mummy, starring Boris Karloff. An ancient mummy, Imhotep, is raised, summoned, brought back to life or whatever. And he fixates on, in this movie, the character is Helen, who reminds him of his love lost long, long ago. So we'll get right into what I liked about the movie, which was Boris Karloff's eyes. Seriously, they had so many shots. I think it was when he was supposed to be like hypnotizing people or mesmerizing people, and it would just be like a tight shot of his face. And his face almost took on like a skull like quality. Like it was like the lighting or lack of lighting that created like these shadows in his face just looked so gaunt that he almost started to look like a skull. Like his eyes started to kind of like hollow out, and you could like see like his cheekbones, and it was just really cool imagery through the movie. I can see why they call him uncanny. Like that's the first thing that came into my head. Like I don't know, he just looked like he was like captivating. Just his face, his features were captivating in that movie. What I didn't like about this version was like all of like Helen's part, basically. The character that Karloff is fixating on, or Imhotep is fixating on. I basically did not like her part at all. I don't know if it was just like the writing, like her lines like were just really bad, or it was her acting. I'm not entirely sure. But I just really didn't like her part. Her part was like hot and cold and really weird, and like one second she seemed like she was kind of like a more independent character, and then the next second she's falling in love with Frank, and then that whole thing where her past self, I guess, is kind of like resurrected within her, and she's like she's like all of a sudden frightened of Imhotep, and she's saying like, I'm a goddess of Isis or a priestess of Isis or something like that. Like, this thing is dead, get it away from me. Like she turned into some like prissy character. I don't know. It was all very, I thought her character could have been a bit better. Again, it became hard for me to be unbiased as soon as I realized the connection to one of my favorite movies. Yeah, and that brings me to the little revelation I had, which was when I realized that my favorite version of The Mummy was a remake of this one. And I thought, like, I had a brief thought to do like a remake versus original for this, but I decided against it. It's essentially the Stephen Sommers version is it's essentially a like word for word remake. It's just more fleshed out. I feel like Stephen Sommers version is a bit shorter than Friend's version. Hope I'm saying that last name right. I don't know. You know how I am with last names. It's basically just more like Sommers just added more like embellishments and bells and whistles and flourishes and kind of brought it out of like just the horror genre, and it became like horror, action, comedy, romance type thing. But yeah, I mean, overall, I did enjoy this version of The Mummy. I think despite any faults I saw in the movie, I still enjoyed it, and I will still probably watch it again because I love Stephen Sommers' version so much. I think, like I said, it became hard for me to be unbiased, so I don't know, I think I just had a different kind of appreciation for this original version. Yeah. And I felt really stupid for not for all the praise I lay on the Sommers version. Had no idea. Right, so if you've seen The Mummy, either version, let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. And until tomorrow, stay strange. Bye! Guys, seriously, I cannot believe I did not know that. Let me know if I've told that story before, that I don't even know if I'm gonna keep it in. And this part might be really confusing to you guys, talking about like what story. Let me know if I've told that story before, I don't know. I've definitely talked about how I love the Brendan Fraser Mummy before, right? Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, be sure to follow me on all my social medias stuff over here so you can keep up to date with my 31 Days of Horror Marathon this month, and you can subscribe to me by clicking right down there so you can follow me in all of my videos for the whole month of October. 31 Days of Horror, guys. I don't know, this looks so awkward. I'm so sorry.